It's been 20 years ever since the original iPod was introduced in October 2001.
Boom. That's iPod. I happen to have one right here in my pocket, matter of fact. There it is, right there. So, this amazing little device holds 1,000 songs, and it goes right in my pocket.
And one thing that Apple probably didn't expect.
Alright, so today, May 10th, 2022, Apple's announced that they're officially discontinuing the latest generation iPod Touch, which means that this thing right here is the last iPod ever made. RIP to the iPod. There will be no more.
Yeah. Oh, well, here's another Apple moment. Apple discontinues the iPod Touch ending a 20-year run of the iconic iPod brand. I remember the iPod Touch for sure, but I remember iPods in general. Because it feels like, man, I feel like a lifetime ago with this stuff. That was the game changer.
Apple has discontinued the last remaining iPod, the iPod Touch, ending what was almost a 21-year lifespan. And I bet that almost all of you watching this video have had at least one iPod at some point. Let me know in the comments which iPod was.
Okay, hopefully that's high enough. Hopefully it is high enough. Yeah, this is just a sort of... I want to say first off, this was supposed to be a much different video than I actually originally intended it to be. In fact, this wasn't supposed to be talking about the iPod line, or well, actually technically it was, because I was originally going to be doing a video of why I started using an iPod in 2022. Now, you may be wondering why I'm not making that video, and the intro kind of says it, but if anyone doesn't understand why I didn't make that video yet, mainly because the iPod has just been discontinued officially by Apple on May 10th, 2022. They officially discontinued the iPod Touch line of products. And I know there's going to be some people who are going to say, oh, the iPod is getting discontinued, who cares? Well, actually, a lot of people care. In fact, there's a lot of people who still use iPods, or people who've had fond memories of using iPods. I'm personally not one of those people. I'm not saying that I don't use iPods. I have a 4th gen, which I use pretty much daily. By the way, the one that I used in the intro. But I feel like, if anything, there's a lot of people who hate the idea of the iPod going away. And unfortunately it was going to happen at some point, but us people who knew that the iPod was such a massive success did not know it was going to happen in May. So it's actually been 4 days since that news came up, and ever since then, the stock for Apple's iPod Touch has gone out. Basically, a lot of collectors and people have bought them. But the fact is that Apple says that the iPod is dead. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people who in the public eye, or people who the average consumers are going to say that iPods serve no purpose. And I mean, maybe that's true to some people. I mean, who wants? Some people carry around. Most people don't carry around an iPod anymore. They first of all, they don't see a point like carrying around a music-only device. I mean, it's to most people, it's like, why would you? We have our phones and streaming services like Spotify and all that kind of stuff, but it's much different than that. And also, sorry that the audio is sounds a little bit weird. I'm using my phone because I accidentally forgot my microphone. I just realized I forgot it, but hopefully this is a good substitute. But anyways, not many people would use an iPod. Maybe an iPod Touch, which is basically an iPhone without the phone. I've got a 4th generation right here, as you can see from the silverback. This is the final one with like the old school iPod design before the 5th generation. But the iPod has always come to approach its doom ever since 2014. The iPod Classic, which are these iPods, got discontinued in 2014. The iPod Nano and the iPod Shuffle was discontinued in 2017, and the iPod Touch had just been discontinued 4 days ago. And there's a lot of people who were sad by this news, including myself. I personally haven't used an iPod. I wasn't one of those people who used it, mainly because I wasn't. I was born in the time when the iPod was popular, but the iPod getting discontinued was some big news to a lot of people, and it's sad, but truly, it was doomed to go off the rails at some point, or get at the end of the road, basically. But now, most people are going to say that the iPod is dead, and maybe it's true to most people's cases, but honestly, it isn't dead. If it would stand up, the iPod is truly not dead. In fact, I want to say that the iPod has probably been at its best position for many years, thanks to a lot of people who make Reddit communities and Discord communities, Facebook or Twitter communities of the iPod. The iPod is still succeeding to be a popular device. In fact, even though it's not popular in the public eye, a lot of people still use iPods to this day. I actually know a subreddit of a lot of people who use iPods, not like a few hundreds, quite a few. And there's a channel, DankPods, who does iPod-related YouTube videos. And even though he hasn't posted a YouTube video on iPods for quite a bit, he does videos on iPods. And in fact, iPod is still supported on iTunes and Apple's ecosystem to this day. If you were to go onto a Macintosh computer, or an iMac, or an iBook, a MacBook, I mean, you can still plug in your iPod into a modern computer, into a modern Mac, and it still will be supported to this day. Even the 1st gen is still supported. Now, for Windows, it's pretty much the same. You just plug in your iPod. As long as you got iTunes, you're ready to go. The iPod will pretty much be there. In fact, iPods are still great music players. In fact, I think that a lot of people use iPods for one of the biggest reasons that they use one is because there's no distractions, unlike a phone where you can pretty much go into any app and I don't know, you can go and on Instagram or something like that, go through your text messages, and people don't like the idea of being able to be distracted while listening to their music. They don't feel like that they get enough time with their music. And even though the iPod Touch is still like an iOS device, it's still great for music. I actually really do prefer like the older iPods, like the 4th gen here, which has a Wolfson DAC, and I actually think it sounds great through the Dirty Buds. But the thing is that to a lot of people, the iPod isn't dead. Do I think the iPod is dead? No, it will never be dead. As long as people are using the iPod, like, there are people who love the idea of being, like, there's some people who use physical media, CDs, cassettes, 8-tracks, records, mini disc, pretty much any format can be live as long as people use it. And the fact is that the iPod is no exception. The iPod is still successful to this day, even though there's not a huge wide of people, like, not like a million people. Millions of people are not using them. But there's still a huge community of people who still use the iPod to this day. Or people who, like myself, have gone into iPods thanks to dank pods, or the idea of being able to buy them so cheaply from Elite Obsolete. It's really nice to be able to have the experience of people, like, of a device that came out years ago, and be able to experience it in our hands today. So, do I think the iPod is dead? No. Apple may say it's dead, but it truly ain't dead. As long as people are using it, and Apple is still supporting it on their latest computers. They built iPod into macOS itself. You can still sync the iPods to a modern computer. Even Windows, and maybe even Google OS. But I want to say, or Chrome OS, maybe, sorry. The iPod isn't dead. The iPod is gonna live on. People are gonna be using iPods. I hope I'm in frame. I hope that people are using iPods, and I hope that people who've never experienced the iPod will grow an interest into it. Even if they just think that the iPod is a really nice novelty. I hope people enjoy the iPod as like we do, or we did. Us people who use them and everything. And I want to say to everyone who remembers or uses an iPod today, keep on chugging. Keep on chugging that iPod juice. That sounds weird, but listen to your music, okay? And I want to say the iPod may be gone from Apple's catalog, or at least from officially being able to buy one, but the iPod will always live in our memories, even though some of us haven't used them before. So, thank you guys so much. Happy 20 years for the iPod. And if any of you are wondering how you can buy an iPod, the link in the description will take you to a store named Elite Obsolete Electronics. You can buy iPods from the 1st generation to the 7th generation classic, iPod Nanos, iPod Touches, and you can even buy custom-made iPods, and you can even buy iPod parts, so you can fix your iPod up if you find one in a drawer and you're like, I want to be able to enjoy those old days again. But for right now, the iPod is still alive, but not in Apple's eyes. Thanks for watching.